Hello, my name is Kiriath, and today we are going to do a nice little chill tutorial / painting session where I'll show you how to get nice, quick, easy blends using naught but a dry brush and a few colours. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you very much to Artist Opus for sponsoring this video, and if you want to know more about Artist Opus or any of the things that they make, then you can find links for everything they do in the description down below, both informational, their Instagram, and if you would like to purchase any Artist Opus brushes, again, there are links in the description down below. I will be using Artist Opus brushes for this because I use them for every bit of painting I do. So, thank you very much to them for sponsoring this, and let's crack on, let's get into it. So, we have here a wing, a creature caster possessed dragon wing, and we're just going to do a very quick, it doesn't even need to be particularly precise kind of blending effect on here, just using a little bit of paint, 4 paints to be precise, and that's it. So getting a bit of paint on the large dry brush. So this is again the Artist Opus Series D large dry brush, and I'm just gonna kind of half stipple, half dry brush on. And once I've got a little bit on there, I've got a little pad. So this pad that is provided with the D series brushes. If you get the box, you just put a bit of water in there, and then you can dab the brush in, and it just reactivates the pigment on the brush. So you don't have to keep loading the brush up with paint. You can just reactivate what you've already got, and you will end up with quite a lot more use out of not a lot of paint, to be fair. So yeah, I'm just gonna go over this nice and quickly. It doesn't need to be particularly precise. I had to do a fair bit of green stuffing on this particular wing, so some of it doesn't look 100% as it should. I did the best I could, but yeah, there were some gaps. It's an older creature caster model. I have to admit, the newer ones that I've had have been a lot more consistent and a lot kind of easier to assemble. But this one is I think one of the earlier ones they did, to be fair. So I'm just going to cover this side. Now, one of the really nice things about doing it this way is that you don't actually really have to wait all that long for anything to dry, because you're not really using you're not like watering the paint down, you're just dry brushing and stippling. That's pretty much all you're doing. So just getting a bit more water on there. That's actually a little bit too much water. Get a bit off, and then there we go. So you can see I'm topping the brush up, not necessarily with more paint, just with a bit of moisture, which is going a long way for keeping it going. Now, it doesn't matter if it's not a completely consistent coat. In fact, not having a completely consistent coat tends to be what I aim for, just because you get more variation in the colours that way. But of course, it's totally up to you. You can go over the same spot over and over again doing this, and it doesn't tend to affect it that much. So I'm starting to run out of kind of usable stuff there, so I'll have to get a bit more in a sec, but that's fine. It's very light on paint, this method as well. It's easy to overload the first couple of times, but you get a good feel for how much you actually need after that. Okay. So we're nearly there with having got the base coat down. As you can see, it's not 100%. It's not 100% consistent across all of it. Some of it is a little bit richer than other spaces, but as I say, that's fine. You can go over particular areas to bring it out more. In fact, I would suggest probably going over raised areas a bit more. We're going to focus on this side of the wing because it's a lot easier to make out the detail in there. Plus, this is, after all, just a very quick method of doing this. So, focusing on just one area, we can get a good feel for just how long this does not take. So occasionally I'm just getting a bit more water in this pad in here, and I'm just making sure that it's not too damp. If you do get it too damp, you can just do a bit more brushing on the texture palette. Again, that is something that you can as you can tell, I mean, it says Artist Opus on it, so that's something that you can get from them. You can build up your own. It's a thing you can do if you get a piece of plasticard and you properly, like, every time you paint anything, just any excess paint, just put it on that piece of like plasticard. You can build up your own fairly quickly. Make sure it's a decent thick piece though, because otherwise you will find that it gets brittle, and as I discovered, possible for it to snap. Like, you'll get a good bunch of paint on there, and then if you drop it or something, it can snap. Or of course, if you have small children like me, one of your children might take hold of said plasticard, wave it around, and see what they can do with it, and they snap it. Which is what happened to me and my texture palette. So I'm just getting a bit more colour here and there where I want to have a bit more colour. The edge of that has gone a little bit flaky, but that's fine. We'll ignore that. We're not going to be colouring the claws today. We're just going to be focusing on the actual kind of the meat of the wing itself, so to speak. So just going to get a bit more right down there, and I think we'll get a bit more just there, just because it could do with being a bit more saturated in that area. There we go. Now, I will say that one of the reasons I like the Artist Opus brushes so much, it's a very natural pairing, because I was sent the brushes initially just to take a look at, and I've not tried a technique like this before. This is not something that I'd ever really made any attempt to do. I got quite stuck in my ways in a way for painting, and they were kind enough to send some over, and now half the stuff I paint is using just the Series D stuff, and everything else I paint is painted using the rest of the brushes. So it's a really nice kind of, what's the word, or what's the kind of businessy word, like an organic partnership. That's a thing you say, right? Just a pretentious way of saying that it's a natural pairing, which it is. I was already using it all the time, in fact. Probably reignited how much I like painting, to be fair. So, just get a last bit of colour on there. Okay, so we've got a good bit of purple on there. Just going to get some kitchen roll, so as you can say, that's been used a fair bit, but that's fine. I'm just going to get a bit more water in the pad there, load up the brush with water, and then I'm just going to do that until it's dry. I will say I have attempted this with other brushes as well. It doesn't work quite as well. One of the popular things at the moment is makeup brushes, which I do use. I do use makeup brushes, but I use them for like scenery and stuff, because you get something like a massive, like a proper big head, and you can do like a huge amounts of scenery real quick, just kind of dry brushing a bit of silver or something on there, just picking out details a bit. But the bristle, they're a lot softer. The bristles are a lot softer. They hold on to paint really, like, a lot. They tend to clog easily, and they can soak really easily. If you put them near water whilst you're using them, that's it. You can't use them again for ages until they've dried out. Obviously, they're just not designed for it. Whereas these very much are designed exactly for this, which is why it works so well. So, we've done our purple. So the purple I did was Hex Lichen from Vallejo. So now moving on to Huldra Blue from scale 75. So I'm just going to, down the middle, kind of there, and there, I'm just going to put a bit of this down. And again, you want that kind of dry brushing, kind of half dry brush, half stippling motion. Now, it's still purple on the end, because I use this brush for literally every colour, but as you can see on my hand, it might have like purple staining, but there's no pigment left. It's not coming out, it's not going to reactivate, it's done. So you can safely use the same brush for every colour. Again, not something I would recommend trying with makeup brushes, because they don't work the same way. the bristles were a lot different, and they hold on to the colour really badly. Again, I have tried it because, you know, you might as well see what else is going on with other things. There's no harm in trying to experiment and seeing how effective stuff is, but it definitely does not work anywhere near as well. Okay, so I'm just getting like a strip up that middle section, and get that bit there. Just make sure that's not, there we go, that was too much. Okay, there we go. And then just up that central section again there. Just a little bit more there. So again, it's a kind of mix of just brushing and stippling. Very, very, very kind of rough and ready. Don't need to be particularly don't need to be super careful with it, because you can always go back and fix anything that you don't like. I'm just going to get a little bit up there again. Again, due to the shape of the brush, you can kind of get away with using the larger brush here. You can also go down a size if you want like more control, but the whole point of this is to show speed. Get a bit more on the brush. There we go. And again, just gonna sort of dry brush / stipple my way up. Not being particularly precious. Gonna just get a little bit more. The Huldra blue you tend to get less out of than the Hex Lichen, I've found, because we've used this colour combination on the body of the dragon itself. It seems to dry out just that little bit quicker. Which I mean, that won't do anything, because the whole point is that you get the most of it off on here, but you can reactivate it on the texture palette as well. There's no point having like doing like a wet palette for this part of it, because, well, you don't want it to be wet. You want to get most of the paint off, so you're just getting the bare minimum on the actual model itself. Okay, there we go, get that in there, nice and easy. So you can see we've already got a kind of just a very simple blend there, where we've got the kind of dark blue going over the purple. I'm just going to add a little bit more to the very middle section of each bit, just to bring that out a little bit more. So I get a bit more on the brush this time, and I'm just going to dab it right up the center. Same thing with that, where I'm just going to get a bit more water actually, and just going to go straight up the middle, just to bring it out that little bit more. Going to get a little bit more on that section there. So straight up the middle, and I'm going to do the same thing there, just straight up. Get a bit more on the very end. Okay, so we now have the purple blending to the dark blue. Dark blue is, I mean, it is technically, but it's, I don't know, it's a cool colour. And of course, it comes out differently on the model. When you actually put it on the palette, my incredibly messy palette there, it's borderline black. It comes out, but yeah, it doesn't end up being like that when it's on the model itself. You end up with this nice kind of deep blue colour. Just gonna get, so you can see I've got a bunch of it on the brush. Again, just gonna moisten that and give it a good rub on the old kitchen towel there. Kitchen towel, paper towel, depending on locale. Nope, there's still a bit on there. The only downside to this colour scheme is it looks like you've been smacked in the hands repeatedly. You end up with dark purple and blue all over your skin. Looks like someone's like whacked you or something. And I think, there we go. Yeah, there we go. That's that gone. Now we're moving on to this. So Adriatic blue again, scale 75. Now, if you're a Citadel person, if you want Citadel, not like scale colour, a replacement for the Hex Lichen is Zeria's purple, and a replacement for the Adriatic blue is Sotek green. I will say I do not know of a replacement for Huldra Blue. I'm afraid that is one that if you wanted to copy this colour scheme, then you would have to. I just don't know of the Citadel equivalent for that. I'm assuming there might be one, but I haven't found it myself. And I mean, I haven't needed to because I'm using that. So Okay, so gonna get some of the Adriatic blue on the brush there. I'm gonna go on a section that I haven't already got a bit damp. There we go. Get most of it off. And then, I think that should be enough. Yeah, there we go. And then over that section where we've already done the Huldra blue, I'm just going to go up with the Adriatic blue. I mean, you can already tell, you can already see that this is super simple, super quick. It doesn't require a vast amount of control. It's not taking a load of time. It's not taking a load of accuracy or effort. I have spread onto there, but that's fine because I'm going to go over those with a different colour later. You just don't need to be precious, and it does not take very long to get a pretty decent result. I've really grown to really like this method. So I'm just going to stipple it, kind of half dry brush, half stipple again, right down the centre, and then move on to this one. So the first pass is going to be a bit lower in terms of depth of colour, but bring it up again just by going over another couple of times. And in fact, whilst that patch is still okay on the palette, I'll just get that bit there. Just bring that up to there, just about. Yeah. Okay, going to get a little bit more off the other palette onto the texture palette. Again, just bring that up nice and easy, and then bring that up nice and easy. And you can obviously do a lot more. You can build it a lot more. You can use like any color combination you really want to. This is just the color combo that I've gone for this model, so that's why we're doing it with this color combo. But you can apply the exact same thing to really anything that you want. And it doesn't just work on large surfaces. You can do it on smaller surfaces as well. Throw it on the thing there. Luckily, the paint's borderline dry on the palette, so didn't mess anything up. Not that it would have really mattered, because you can fix everything that you might do wrong super easy, which is another reason I like it so much. That's one of the other really nice things about this is it's just like, oh, that worked. I'm going to experiment with something else. Oh, that didn't work. Give me 30 seconds. Oh, I fixed it. Okay, never mind. It's all good. No one needs to know. Okay, so just going to get a tiny bit more because I just want a little bit more vibrancy, and I'm just losing a little bit of it on the brush, and just straight down this middle, just tap it along. Just bring it out a little bit. There, and again up there. And there we go. This is a super awkward thing to hold, to be fair. Keep trying to not get my hand all over it, but there you go. Okay, so we now have, as you can see, a fairly decent, simple, not too tricky little blend going on. Got a bit of the dark blue underneath, we've got the light blue over the top, and it's taken very little time. To finish it off, we're just going to do a pass of ice yellow over the top, so Vallejo ice yellow, which will go down the very middle, down there and there and there. And just to blend it in that a little bit more, we're going to go back to the Huldra blue and use the small brush just to go around the edges there. So we will let's do the ice yellow first. And for that, we're going to use a smaller brush. In fact, I think let's get out the get out the small and the medium. So we'll start out with the, we'll start out doing the ice yellow because we'll use the medium for that, and then we'll do the small down the sides with the Huldra blue just to blend it in a little bit more. Okay. So there we go. Get the medium on the go. Get a bit of ice yellow on the end there, and there will do. This texture palette's seen some abuse since I got it. Okay, and just going to get that bit off my thumb. There we go. And I'm just going to very, very lightly just go over the top there. Just enough to bring it out. Don't want to go crazy with it right now. Just bring it out a little bit, and we'll get just a tiny bit of moisture on the brush. Again, go up there. Now the ice yellow doesn't tend to last as long on the palette, I've found. I do have to go back to the on the texture palette. I do have to go back to the other palette a little more regularly with the ice yellow, but it is a far paler colour. Like, it's way paler. So that probably accounts for some of it. Oh, nope, too much. Get rid of a bit more. Okay, just get that a little bit up there, a little bit up there. And then we can move on to this section. I'm just going quick, rough downstrokes, occasionally going up again if I want a little bit on the other side. But it's mostly following the scales down due to the way this model has been done. Do a bit up and down at the top there. Get a tiny bit more. Don't need to get a huge amount. And again, just go down there. Of course, if you do go like a bit excessive, if you do go over the top and you don't like it, you want to bring it down a bit, it's super easy to do. You can just go back over it with the Adriatic blue and just mellow it out a bit. Just stipple it on there. And well, there's a bit of a line in the cast there that I didn't notice until that went on. Never mind. It happens. And I think I'm just going to go up there a little bit more. Properly go for it at the top there. I think just add a little bit up the top here. And there you go. That's not too bad. We'll just get a bit of the Huldra along the sides, just a little bit. But we are pretty much there for a very quick, very simple, just easy kind of blending effect. Okay, so I've got the small, and I'm just gonna go just up the sides a little bit, just a tiny bit up the side there, and then again up there. Just add a little bit in, not a huge amount. Just take the edge off it a little bit. So you can see it's adding a bit, it's not adding loads, it's just enough to make a bit of a difference. And then if you wanted to add a bit of extra kind of contrast to this, which, you know what, we'll just do a quick bit of added contrast. Okay, so I've added just a bit more of the Huldra down the sides, and to add a little bit of contrast, we're just going to use a little bit of Warlord Purple, which, there you are. So, bit of Warlord Purple, again from Vallejo, and we're just going to go over the kind of spiny bits of the wings, so to speak. And I think we'll stick with this brush, so I'll just give it a quick clean. Just dip it in the thing, scrub, 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 scrub. I think that's pretty much clean already, actually. Hang on. Yes, it is. So, just for a bit of added contrast, I'm just going to go down there, 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 and there. Just a tiny bit, just a bit of added colour, because why not? So get most of that off there. I actually got a bit more on there than I meant to, but never mind, it's okay. Get the vast majority off, there we go. And so I'm just going to just go down that middle section like that. Actually, I think I need a little bit more. The Warlord purple isn't quite as it doesn't feel quite as like pigment heavy as some of the other stuff. Let's start here, because then it doesn't matter too much if we go over. Okay, so just gonna go over there, get a little bit more, get that section there, up to the top, and then go over that central one there. I'm not too fussed if we stray into onto either side of it, because again, if we wanted to go back over it again with some of the Huldra blue, we could, so it would be fine. So just get that up there, up that one, all the way to the top, and then we move over to this side. I think we need a little bit of water, just reactivate it a bit. There we go. Maybe not quite that much. There we go. Get that up there. Definitely up the very top there. I mean, just get a bit more of the actual paint in. Yeah, it's definitely not quite as pigment heavy as some of the other darker colours, but it is quite a bright colour, to be fair. Just do that to match. Could actually do with a larger brush for this section, but that's okay. We won't switch out now because we're nearly done. I think I'll just catch that little section there a little bit more. Take that all the way up there. Get a bit more water. And there, sorted. So about half an hour or so to get a rough but serviceable blend on a dragon's wing there. So as I say, we can go back over that with a small brush, bring out the blue and the ice yellow a little bit more if we wanted to, which I think would be a good idea, just to go straight up there. Could add a bit more of the Adriatic blue to the sides if you wanted to bring out the blue a little bit more, but it's not bad. It's not bad for what? Yeah, not even half an hour. Not even half an hour, and of course it's completely applicable to entire models, because the dragon is the same. So that's the dragon so far, and as you can see, very similar effect, and doesn't take all that much time. So yeah, I hope you found that useful and enjoyable. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you again to Artist Opus for sponsoring this video, and yeah, I hope you go away, grab some of the brushes and give it a go, because it's nice and simple, nice and fun, and I think it's fair to say, you know, it yields pretty decent results. Of course, I could bring this up to match that, which I will do, but just as a quick go over, not too shabby. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope that was useful and entertaining, and I will see you for the next one. Toodaloo.